Hey, it's Shift and Steer. Makeup. Makeup is still going on here in the studio. Hey, I'm Brad Fanshaw. With me are, as usual, Matt D'Andria and Aaron, the makeup artist Hagar. So, hey, everybody.
Morning.
Great show lined up today because we're going to talk about, more bad news. And then we're going to talk about a new car that was just released. Next, I got a real problem because I look at design and I'm saying, what the? And IndyCar, all kinds of stuff. We got it all coming up here on today's Shift and Steer, and it's brought to you today by Matt.
By Matt. Yeah, thank you.
Matt, good job.
Yeah. By our friends at Geico. Geico is offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies. That's 15% on top of the money Geico could already be saving you. So what are you waiting for? Go to geico.com and check this out. If you go by October 7th, you'll save that extra 15%. Just check out geico.com for more info.
Are they stretching this? Was it always October, or was it a little earlier?
It was always October 7th. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
October 7th. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't been paying attention.
They don't say that in the commercials, though, so maybe that's when they're going to stop advertising with this. I'm not quite sure.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
We're funded
We need that $50, man. Come on.
I didn't say what year. I just said October 7th.
I'm going to chime in on this show.
Yeah.
Good. I hope you chime in on every show. I mean, we need you to chime in on every show.
If you guys would stop talking.
Well, good luck with that.
Hey, let's get it. Let's just clear it right off the top. But before I do, hey, everybody, I know I say this every show, and I know some guy even posted that, God, could Brad quit being the commercial? Well, somebody's got to remind everybody, please go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and a comment. I get a little pissed off, guys. I mean, I look at some of these podcasts. We've been around. We got a great following. We got great numbers, and there's guys that have 5 times more followers than us. We know our listeners like the show, so please support us by going there and it's a click. You leave a comment, you're done. You're out of there. So, and
I do it with shows I don't even like.
Yeah. And for every person who does it through the end of September, Matt is going to arrange a free steak dinner with Adam Carolla. Is that not correct?
It's going to be one of those Beyond Meat burgers.
Okay, but no, please go there. But
no,
hey,
it's not.
Let's get this going. Bad news, it just keeps rolling in. PRI now is the latest one to succumb to the COVID, and it will not be held in December like they had said. We're going to make it happen. And it's weird because you guys, there's so many events going on in Indy. Have you seen, like, there's, auctions, there are races, but still when you get inside the auctions, they had lots of people, but I guess they were, technically outside because they were under a tent, maybe? I don't know, but...
Barrett Jackson's doing their big event.
What's that?
Barrett Jackson's got their big event coming up.
But see, that's Scottsdale. It's not Indianapolis.
Yeah. And they're doing, if you saw any of Craig Jackson's videos...
they're 6 feet apart.
Well, he said, there's going to be some social distancing going on, which is... I know they're going to try. It's going to be a little hectic. It's always hectic. I mean, first of all, just stand in the line for the bathrooms. I don't know how that's going to work. But in that giant main room tent, they put huge, crazy UV lighting that's the anti-germ UV lighting stuff.
All of the air conditioning recycling goes through UV light.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I hope we're not walking under a bunch of UV lights.
I know.
I don't think that's real healthy.
We're gonna come back with a tan, but
we'll come back looking like the Blue Man Group.
Speaking, I'm glad you brought that up, Matt.
But it looks interesting. I mean, they're doing stuff to make it happen.
I'm glad you brought that up because I talked to Craig 2 days ago, and he's trying to look at his schedule. We might get him on before the auction to come on
cool.
and tell us about what they're doing and how they're going to be doing it. And it looks like he's going to be able to do it either next week or the week after. So that'll be good. We'll be able to hear it right from Craig. You bring all this social distancing up and like that, and something I just saw on social media this morning, some dude was at Starbucks, and he said, yeah, this is working out really well. They had all the dots on the floor, but it was like at a Disneyland type turnstile thing. So if you're standing on one of the dots, there's a guy standing right next to you on the dot in the next part of the turnstile. And he goes, yeah, this wasn't well thought, was it? You know?
That's okay. The health department will fix that real quick.
Some people are leaving the state. Some people are flying. And one of those people is Matt D'Andria. Matt went to Tennessee, right?
I did. I flew on an airplane.
And how was it?
You're contaminated, man. You should be in a bubble.
It was fine. So I went
to
that
now.
The event I went to is Adam Carolla and I and producer Chris. We went to Tennessee for the Z-Con event, which is a week-long Z-Car event, various events throughout the week. And we went to the unveiling of the new 400Z, well, what's being called the Z Proto for the prototype. And, participated in that live stream launch for the event. But yeah, not to harp too much on the whole COVID stuff because we're kind of sick of it. But, everybody's standing in line to get on a plane like you normally expect. They sell fewer seats on the plane. I will tell you that as grateful as I am for the guys at Nissan to fly us first class, I will tell you, if you're on your own dime, for sure, it's a waste of money. You just get a box of Triscuits and look, they had water, beer, and wine, nothing else, which means no like soda water or club soda or Coke or Pepsi or nothing, water, beer, and wine. And you get a box, like a wrapped box of like Triscuits and I don't know, Skittles or something. It was like lunch for a 5-year-old. And then
now, Matt, before you go on, I want to just tell you, on the other show I do, Man Seeks Adventure, we had a lady that commented, actually sent a message to us, and she said, "I've got the hot setup. I fly a lot. I have to for work," and she bought the hand sanitizer bottles. And she goes, I just put my vodka in those. And she goes, they're my mixers when I get on the plane. I'm like, you're hardcore, lady.
That's a good idea. Well, I think Corolla probably travels that way too. I think he brings his own with him, but
he's got a hollow leg with it in it.
So we're sitting in first class. Chris was behind us in like Comfort Plus, and Adam goes, well, what do you think the difference is between his seat and ours? I said, well, our beer's free. He probably going to pay $5. Then we get off the plane. He goes, now they had beer and wine, Comfort Plus. It's all included in the price. I was like, then there's no difference.
There's no difference. Yeah.
There was absolutely no difference except we just paid a lot more money for the ticket.
Well, he got M&Ms and you guys got Skittles. So.
I wish. I like M&Ms better. So I would have traded. I would have asked for 2 boxes. But and Adam Brad, it was interesting. To your point, was we went and did CarCast Live at the Z-Con at the car show portion of it. There was probably 200 cars or something there. And it was a great outing of cars. There was a few people wearing masks, but mostly it was outdoor. The cars were, it's a car show. It's just a lot of walking around in an open area. There was plenty of space. A few people wearing masks, a few, just a couple older people for sure wearing masks. We did CarCast outside live. There was some amount of social distancing involved. And then we did the event, the Z-Con, the Z Proto unveiling, and they had a huge stage with the Jumbotrons up there. And the way they did it is it was invitation only to some Z car owners. and they all just rolled up like drive-in movie style. Everyone was in their cars. You can kind of get out and sit on the hood or lean against it, but there was about 150 or 200 Z cars in the audience.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It was cool. It looked like a kind of like a scene out of the movie Cars, where everyone is a car. So it was just like everybody's rolled up to a movie, and
well, everybody
was
was
a good
an Asian car.
And it was a good launch event, but of course we're in Tennessee, so when it came to dinner, we ate inside, roofed, 34th floor of the JW Hotel in a steakhouse. There's some social distancing with the tables, but everybody eats inside, which we haven't done in California, and it seems like at all this year. And what's interesting is politics aside, there was a kind of a funny internal email that got exposed in Nashville between the local politicians going, there's basically zero cases of COVID for all of the open restaurants. And they said, well, we're not going to release that to the public, right? They're like, now let's just focus on other things for now. Because there's no real like, hey, maybe we should do it, maybe we shouldn't do it. They're just saying,
they didn't want to.
It is what it is.
I saw that
yeah.
too.
It kind of counterpoints everybody else's thing, especially in California. But anyway, it was a good event, and we'll talk about the car more.
The car itself, I want to ask you guys, because I know 240Z, the shorter one, kind of the original body style. I mean, the new modern one. I guess the first one was the Fair Lady, wasn't it, or something like that? And so the 240Z, I loved. I loved that car. It had great proportions. It had a shorter nose, and people did a lot of stuff with them. Everything from drag cars with big and small blocks in them to road race cars with wide bodies, and even just cruising around on the streets. They just had a really cool look to them.
Yeah.
The later one with the longer nose, was that the 270Z?
Well, there was the 240 and the 260, and they had
280.
some, and they had some they had some shareable body panels, if you will, like it.
Well, everything from the cowl back, but then the cowl forward, it was longer.
Yeah. So, and then the 280 is the real kind of significant design change. It had less of a rounded front, a little bit more of a straighter front. You could see that in our racing cars as well. The 280 racing car has a significantly different front end, and whereas in the racing trim, the 240 and the 260 are very similar.
Right.
They're similar body panels. Very famously, the Camel GT pace car, the Bob Sharp built that Adam Carolla has in his collection. When we spoke to Sharp, he's like, this was built from 240 and 260 parts.
They just rebodied it, right?
Yeah, they just kind of used both to make that car. But so the 280 is kind of the longer nose version of what you're talking about.
And then guys who are nearsighted, they're the ones who put the mirrors way out on the fender, right?
I guess it's interesting because on the right cars, it's a cool look. Yeah,
it's a real cool look.
So so tell us. I mean, we weren't there, and you had a unique ability of being there live, but you also had the ability of, Aaron and I are going from what we remember in our heads. You were able to look, because it was a car show, go, oh, okay, there's a 240 there, there's a 260 there. And, right there, the visceral kind of perception. What tell us about it. What did you see? What did you hear? And what are the numbers on the car?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Yes, as Adam was presenting along with the guys in Japan, there's one prototype currently built. It was in Japan, and they live streamed it, and did a Q&A and all that stuff. So I did not see the new Z Proto in person, but as they were showing it on the jumbotrons, I was standing next to the stage looking out at a sea of Zs, from the very first to the most modern, 370Zs and 370 Nismos. And as I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking back at some of the details of the cars in front of me. I would say this is when I first saw the car pop up, my first thought was I really was not a fan of the color that they chose for the Z-Con launch, because that color came off as such a neon yellowish kind of thing. And when you're live streaming and looking on monitors, especially jumbotrons, it was almost hard to see because it's it kind of just blows out, like, light wise. It's just like this big glow in the dark color. So immediately by the next morning, if you looked on Instagram, people were already doing renderings of different colors and slam and canards and wings. And that's where you really start to look at the car. Now, what you missed with that crazy color was some of the lines on the car. The hood isn't flat. The hood has like a break right down the middle, and then it splits to, what a lot of guys are calling sort of like a power dome or something like that. So it does have a break to it, and the lights are kind of laid back and flat, but there is like a 2-inch wide, inch and a half wide, like flat spot in the bodywork to give it that depth for the light that didn't really come off as much in the video as well. And then a lot of people have been saying, I can live with the profile, but the grill was a fail for them. Now, you've got to look closely on the grill. The grill is smaller than you think. It's normal size. And then underneath the grill was a blacked out piece of body panel. So
which you can't see it all.
Which you can't see it all. And then when you start getting in close up to some of the professional photos or some of the renderings people have done, people have already changed the color of that to a body color panel, and it does change the look. So now what you're talking about is not just a grill opening, it's just a piece of gloss black, right? And maybe the production version doesn't even use that, but that does change the front end a little bit. And now when you get to the rear of the car, which is very interesting, because in my mind, the sort of the louvered lights and the blacked out panel.
300ZX.
Yes, but in my world, that's Mustang. Blacked out panel now is Mustang, and those louvered lights are straight off of like a 93 Cobra. So I saw a lot of Mustang in the back. I will tell you this, though, is look at the profile of that car, and the profile is nice. Look at that thing, nice. Look at that profile and think a little bit of Aston Martin, maybe a little bit of Vantage in it, and it's really sharp. Now, some people are on the fence with
down
this.
Aston in a way, yeah.
It is. It kind of is. Now, this is a design for you guys. A question for you guys, both being designers. A lot of companies have moved toward not just tricking the eye with shapes, but tricking the eye with colors. Namely blacked out pieces. We're blacking out roofs. We're blacking out B pillars and C pillars. Obviously that with the tinted windows. When the Jag XJ came out, it had that weird black C pillar out there, right? That's Ian Callum trying to change the lines of it. Also, I think one of the more famous ones, Aaron, is the Mini Cooper, which has the colored top, and it's meant to have sort of a floating roof with a blacked out B pillar or C pillar, and then body color. So the color profile of the Z has a bit of Aston Martin to it because of the blacked out roof. But when you see some of the renderings of people doing it body color, that's pretty cool as well. So the question is, will all the Zs have the blackout panels, or will different trim models, a sport model or a touring model or a Gran Turismo model or something, have the blackout panel versus a body color panel? We don't really know. So what do you guys think on blackout panels versus painted?
Well, blackout panels, first of all, have been something that, GM's used them on SUVs for years, to get that giant roof to look smaller and more. But what's really funny is you were saying that, and I was looking at some photos online as you were saying it, and someone took a rendering flared the rear wheel wells,
Yeah.
it's all body color. And if you take it and put your hand up in front of the front end and just look from the cowl back, looks like a 911 Porsche. It's
does.
weird. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
in that 3/4. But it's you know, blacking things out can make a car look you know, dynamite, and then body color can give it a whole different look. It goes well either way, but it does work. What were you gonna say, Aaron?
Oh, I was going to say, like with the FJ Cruiser, that was a big deal too. I remember that when the roof was body color, it was like, oh,
right.
wow, it's
Yeah.
body color. You know, it made such a significant difference. And that was one of the first vehicles I think I saw that I really, really noticed. There's a rendering of this Z car with almost like a Ford GT front headlights, you know, with the halos. And I love that look, a little BRZ going on. Even with that trim, it's like stuff is going so simple. I mean, it's like that they're simplifying the designs. You know, we got all these complex styling cues now of all these intakes and vents and little contrasts, you know, really neat stuff. But it's like, if you look at the Tesla truck, you know, that they announced a while back, that thing is just the epitome of simplicity. And I think there's a trend going towards that too. I mean, there's a lot of cars that aren't doing that, but I think there's a lot of cars that are doing that. Look at the new Ferrari, look at the Aston Martin, look at the Jaguar, look at this. I mean, look at the new Hummer. I mean, there's so many vehicles out there now that are, you know, the new Bronco, that are really overly simplifying lines with subtleties, you know, so color really counts.
Well,
It does.
so much of that too, Aaron, when you talk about Tesla like that, it's for aerodynamics. They've got to have that. And
well, do you think it's for simplicity of production too?
well, tooling and everything.
Cost?
Yeah,
You think
there
that's
could
a
be a lot of
factor?
that. This Nismo one looks good.
Yeah, so I just texted you both. Brad, you're gonna have to throw these up on our
will.
website
yeah.
and social media. I grabbed.
cool.
I'll send you the link as well, so you can credit whoever created these. But look at this Nismo rendering in red. I'm sorry, in white with the red stripe that Nismo is doing. Look what they did with the grill treatment. And if you look closely on the grill, you can see the different things going on in the white body panel that connects them. You look
like
at the
that
rear,
lower red body line.
I do too.
There's some cars doing that, and that's a good look. This car is really interesting because it's a nod to, you know, like the 200 series, the 300 series. I mean, it's got a nod to like every generation of Z cars, which is kind of interesting that they made it work. I'm not a fan of the front end. I'm really not. I don't like the shape of the headlights. I don't like the assumption of the grille. To me, it's a little blocky. But
it's interesting is when you look at the front of the car, the grille looks very flat and large, and then look at the profile and look at all the personality in the front. It's got a nose peeking out. It's got some grille, and then the next face of black panel sucks in more.
Profile's nice.
And then it's got the chin that comes out down below. Like the profile is a good car. And if you look at some of the press photos, it's got I forgot what they're calling it. It's not a canary yellow. It's like a sunbeam yellow, but it's kind of an old school color that we actually saw on some of the old Zs during the ZCon car show, and it's kind of cool. I'm not a fan of yellow cars, although this was kind of cool. But I'll tell you, this yellow coming off, this yellow on that live presentation just looked like a safety vest. It was so bright.
Here's the thing, Matt, is that this is where our whole new way of doing things has to go through a transition. These designers, these marketers, they're used to doing a color that's on a turntable under lighting, and they want it to just go boom and burst. And now what they've got to stop and think about is that my screen's not the same as your screen, and and it's going to be looking at a phone, and we're going to be looking at it. And some of these colors that might work at a car show live, where they have controlled lighting, and when photographers take a picture of it, it's all what.
And they're seeing it from a distance.
It's changing. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Also, like when you Google this car, like I'm looking at my computer screen, when you Google the car in this yellow, and it brings up the splash screen of images, it's like 12 different colors of yellow. So,
Yeah,
so
some are flat.
A testament to that too. Yeah, it's not a good color. Would white be a good color? I don't know. They didn't have a big white screen. So
you know why, Aaron, what you're saying is because slight variations in yellow can look really bad.
Yeah.
If that car was red, you would see 4 different versions, 8 different versions of red and go, I kind of like that one. Maybe I kind of like that one. Or this blue's a little dark. Or or like if you did a blue, maybe this blue looks like it's got a little too much purple, but it's not terrible. And this is a little too grayish blue. You know,
just make them all gray.
And the reason
or you could have done the white.
And that is the reason that traditionally so many show cars are silver, because it's consistent and it shows the body lines so well. However, as we've gone on, people want to present them. But let's talk about some numbers and then move on, because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Real quick, I got to say, I love the interior.
That's what I was going to comment.
The interior's really nice.
The interior is going to be a big step up. It's going to be a big step up. It's going to have all the latest technology that you would expect for it. There are some things that I agree that I don't know about style wise. Now I'm told there could be an opportunity for me to see the car in person in California in a few months. The car has to go on a little bit of a tour. Again, there's only one prototype.
Oh, cool.
So we'll be able to see it and really kind of maybe get in it and give you guys an idea. I don't think it's going to be a press car that we can drive, but it is going to be interesting to see in person. So before I give it sort of a love-hate verdict, I'd like to say I'd like to see it in person. But that being said, they didn't release all of the specs and the numbers on it. They're going to roll that out a little bit later over time. However, they did tell us 3.0 liter twin turbo V6. Now, Infiniti has this engine in their lineup with 400 horsepower. And I would expect this thing is probably going to get a little bit of a bump over that. And also the Infiniti, I think it was the Q60 Red edition. I don't know specifically. I drove that one with 400 horsepower and all-wheel drive and an automatic transmission. It was nice and it was fun and definitely a little bit sporty. But you get in and you go, hey, I would wonder what a rear-wheel drive lighter version with a manual would do for me, and that's exactly what this is going to be.
There it is.
Is that, and I would imagine it's somewhere in the 420 to 450 horsepower range with a proper 6-speed manual with 3 pedals as an option. Not everyone's going to want it, and rear-wheel drive and probably lighter weight than the all-wheel drive Infiniti. I think this car could be a lot of fun to drive. It's tough to compete in this $30,000 to $50,000 sports car market, because when you throw in a couple of used cars, it's a big market. Everything from your muscle cars, your Camaros and Mustangs, to obviously Toyota Supra, BMW M2. I would imagine Cayman on some level is going to be compared to it. It has to compete performance-wise. So I think they'll do okay. I'm expecting decent numbers out of this thing.
Now, Matt, did you hear any rumblings of the rumors down there that we heard that they, in the second year of the production, they're thinking about going up against the Hellcat with a Hello Kitty version?
That's been confirmed.
Super high horsepower Hello Kitty.
Yeah, no, that's confirmed.
For once, Brad, you got a good one in there. I like that. That's a good one.
It's been 5 years.
For once.
I've been working it, man. You got to work the room and get a feel for it.
His other good one.
You've been waiting to throw that one in.
His other good one is when we talked about the Jeep Gladiator, and he goes, Jeepers.
Oh, man. Now, I'm curious about the market on this, too, because it's like the 300 series and the 370s, and I think they really appeal to a young audience. The older, the 300s, I don't know where those lie right now. I had a convertible, and it was all Stillen, and this thing hauled ass. I actually got pulled over doing 150 with the top down in San Bernardino County and got off. But I was coming back from Arizona and I was doing 150 and got caught. And they didn't take me to jail. Didn't even give me a ticket. I was lucky. But
Man, you're lucky.
thing hauled ass. Yeah, real lucky. I wanted to see. He goes, "You wanted to see how fast it go with the top down, didn't you?" I said, "Precisely." Anyway, but and then of course you have the old 200 series, which has our appeal to our generation, and then I think some of the youth has picked it up too. But this car, is it going to appeal to people our age with the standard transmission, or is it going to appeal to a younger audience with an automatic? I'm really kind of curious who the buyers are going to end up being on this car.
That's a good question, and I think they need to sort of appeal to both. The purists, everybody that I met at ZCon that wants to buy one of these as a fun car, they're all going to buy the manual, but that's going to be a couple thousand of them, and everyone else will buy an automatic, because that's the world we live in.
$1,000 car? Is it going to be a $40,000 car?
I'm not expecting a wildly different change in pricing compared to the modern 370Z. Although as an option, I would have liked, because the numbers were usually based off of the engine, a 3-liter, 3.7 liter, and this production version will be a 400Z. That's what we believe so far, but it's going to be a 3-liter twin turbo, and the 400Z could now be like, it's the series, it's the 4th, or it could be the horsepower, or I would have liked to have seen possibly a 4-liter V6 naturally aspirated engine with a little RPM in it. I think that would have been kind of fun to see as well. But as far as attracting that younger audience, Aaron, I think the 3-liter turbo is the way to go, because if you want to go head to head in the aftermarket and in the tuner world with something like the
tuner
Supra,
means turbo.
you got to go turbo, right? You got to go turbo with it. And listen, if Nissan, the best investment Nissan can make on this car is a strong drivetrain. Because the aftermarket is going to go crazy with the appearance of it, the interior, wheels, suspension, all kinds of body stuff to it. They're going to want to hop up the engine. So if they give us a strong engine and drivetrain, transmission, rear end, then it's going to be no holds barred. Like people, we're all in the same boat with this. Everybody wants to add some horsepower and change the look and personalize the car. And then later we're like, oh, I blew a transmission. Now I got to throw money after it. And you didn't want to.
Big money.
Or half shafts or something like that. Like you can get ahead of it and do some of that stuff. We've, us older crowd has sort of figured that out. I've got a Lightning with 200 horsepower, and I did Mark Williams axles in it because I'm getting ahead of that goddamn thing. But
you're right. I think what's going to happen,
there's a strong drive line,
and we're going to see a crossover, because there's going to be that new generation of people that fall in love with the Z car, but then you're going to have the enthusiasts that are already in love with it and want to get the new one. Then there's the nostalgia. I think they've done a very good job of bridging that gap. Some cars that come out, there's too much nostalgia. It's like, oh, come on, it looks, it looks like a stretched out this or a, no, and they've done really well. I think it's a good bridge of those two design cues, and they've got it. They're going to have a market.
If I had one question for a Nissan engineer, if he was in Zooming with us right now, I would just say, great, I'm excited about it. I would say, can this chassis and drivetrain handle 650 horsepower?
What do you think?
That's it. I don't know. I think maybe. Look, the BRZ, I think one of the issues with BRZ is it wasn't able to handle much boost.
Yeah.
The Scion, the FRS, right? And the Subaru, the BRZ. I think there were some issues with the durability of that engine. And I don't have one, I can't speak to it, but I remember that coming up in discussions. And that, I think, was one of the flaws. I know there's turbo kits and supercharger kits to it, but for it. But
as long as there's no tires on it, you can handle it. It's no problem at all. So which is
interesting. So if the Nissan can handle the power, then you're going to see 600 horsepower versions of this car all day long.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wait
Definitely.
and see. We'll see when they start coming out. Let's move on. Let's talk. Stay in that same kind of range, because I keep getting emails from Ferrari. I keep getting things that are popping up on my social media from Ferrari, and it's all about the Ferrari Roma.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you guys, I look at that car and I go, that's a Jaguar F-Type. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
from the front.
you
the
go
back.
Jaguar, I go Aston Martin.
I'm with you both on that.
Matt may say something else. It looks too much like everything else.
Well, let's just go back. The F-Type always looked like the Aston Martin. I mean, they were in the same building for many years right down here in Irvine, and you'd walk in and see them side by side, and you'd go.
To be fair, it's the same designer. Ian Callum did the
Exactly.
DB9, and then he did the F-Type. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think the Ferrari Roma looks like the Z Proto.
Yeah, right. And what about in the interior?
Wait a minute. Are they all just? There's your answer, Aaron. To save on body panel. No, but Ferrari has always been that company that really stood out and didn't follow everybody. And this is their first car that everybody go look at it. Give us some of your thoughts on social media. Hit us up, because we'll put both photos up side by side and you tell us. I mean,
I'm bummed. That center grill, it's just dreadful. I think
Roma?
I think my hamster had a part of its cage that looked like that.
On the
It's
Roma.
a hamster cage front. Yeah, it's just like the front grill and the interior. I mean, I've always liked that segregation personally as a design, but it looks like a Corvette. I mean, not to say a Corvette's not beautiful, and it's a beautiful interior, but I don't know what they're doing here. It's so not Ferrari. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's so not Ferrari, and it makes you wonder, where are they moving? Is that where they're headed?
Yeah.
Because
it's a publicly traded company now. Maybe that's where they're going.
Like I've got thoughts on it, and they may differ.
Well, let's hear it.
They should differ.
I agree there's some issues with the grill, but I kind of think like some of the design things that are happening with Ferrari's, more upscale supercars are there's so much weird venting. The 488 Pista, I don't think that's really a pretty car. I like it because it performs. Listen, the Nissan GTR is not the coolest car on the planet. It's not the prettiest car on the planet, but we all like it when we see it down the road because we know what it represents. And I think the Ferrari kind of has that. But come on, look at the 488 Pista. Look at this weird beak nose that's going on, and and I don't know, the vents on the side I think are going off of a weird angle at this point, and it's just not the prettiest car. And I think the Roma has some classic styling to it. Of course, I've said this a million times. I'm a sucker for the GT styling, the long nose, front engine, front mid engine design. I was always a fan of the front engine V12 Ferraris. More than the rear engine Ferraris.
That the Roma's an ugly car. I think because I love but what I'm saying is that they didn't stand out. There's an argument for standing out, just stand out, but really, I mean, Italian design has always been. If you went to an Italian designer and you said, your car looks just like that British car over there, they'd probably give you a good pop, And
I think they would just walk away with your wife.
What is wrong with you? So, but no, it's interesting. We'll have to see what comes. I mean, hey, I'm with you, Matt. The 488 Pista, it's not the most beautiful lines, and it's, but we are looking at a whole new era of, the old cars that we love, those classic Ferraris with the long noses and like that. They don't work in today's world as much anymore. And now let's talk about the other thing. Ferrari, their consumer base was, and we've had this talk, the three of us, with the president of Ferrari, that it was growing old and gray. They need
Yeah.
to appeal. So maybe this is the type of car that their marketing shows.
But this design to me
have.
is old and gray. And I was just going to say that when you started this part of the conversation, that to me, this is the older gentleman Ferrari, someone who wants, who's looking for a little more simplicity in design and looking for, not the look at me standout wild design and overly exotic look that we've been getting with the V8s, but something that's, maybe a bit more conservative, like the 456 or like the 812 Scaglietti or something, looking for that front engine 12-cylinder, a two-door four-seater, a touring car. Dad has a 400i, which, an 84, which in its day was butt ugly. And just now we're starting to appreciate the lines because they're nostalgic.
Because they're cheap enough you can customize.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's got a 456. And I think this is definitely going after that styling of that 4 Series Ferrari. I'm just not a fan of it personally because I guess I'm just not there yet. But, I like the wild stuff.
It's the daily use Ferrari versus the supercar. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well,
listen,
then you have the wagon. I'm a big fan of the Lusso. And
right,
the
but
I love
think
the Lusso and the FF. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Roma is arguably prettier than the Lusso.
Well, yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I think I have seriously considered owning a Lusso or FF. I've looked.
If I could afford one,
Oh, yeah.
I would have bought one yesterday. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
well, they're starting to come down. But the problem
but
is that you look at the repair bills on them,
but not, yeah. No, the repair bills
they
on those
drop like a
aren't
rock.
bad.
They drop like a rock as soon as because they have that extended.
As soon as the warranty's over.
Yeah, when the warranty's over. Boom.
Yeah.
But
Right, when the scheduled maintenance is off, then it
over,
drops,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
plus we have to wonder about that transfer case. That's Ferrari's first transfer case, and I don't know if they borrowed it from anybody else. So I think that's all of our big concern in owning an FF.
Well, that's when you take it out and put a Ford 9-inch under it. No, but Matt, I agree. That's much sexier looking. But if you're talking about something utilitarian that you could literally drive, I showed pictures
FF.
on my social media of carrying wheels back from the factory, going to the hardware store and picking up, like pool chemicals. Because it's actually a car you can drive because it doesn't have a little shoebox for a trunk.
I'm with you on it, but the reason why
I would love to go to Grocery Mart in an FF.
With the Roma coming out, the Lusso, the GTC4 Lusso is going to be phased out. However, not exactly, because if you looked at the upcoming Ferrari SUV, it's basically a Lusso with a lift kit on it, and I like it better that way. I think the Lusso looks better as an SUV than it does as the all-wheel drive hatchback.
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. It's I like it from the rear 3/4. I love the profile. I'm not crazy about the front because it looks to me like the Maserati. I still think as far as those SUVs go, the Uranus. The Urus definitely has the market cornered on exotic SUVs.
It does in way of performance, but the design is still controversial.
I'm not a big fan. I'd much rather have this Ferrari than that Lamborghini. I'm just not a big fan of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And in fact, if they do the big smiley grill one, definitely would be better. But I see a bunch of different versions here, and there's one with kind of a small grill, which I don't think it does the lines justice. But,
all right,
there's some neat stuff.
Let's see what happens. Let's talk about something that's attainable for us. A ticket to an IndyCar event.
Kia is taking over.
Did you guys hear that Nashville got a Grand Prix? They're going to do the Music City Grand Prix. Did you hear about this?
I did not. Nobody told me while I was there.
Yeah, I know. See, they didn't want you to come back, Matt. No, so August 6th through the 8th, 2021, They're going to do a Grand Prix through the streets. And you have got to see this map. It looks like the coolest track. It's got 11 turns. It's 2.17 miles, I believe it is. But one of the coolest things about it is this big, long bridge they are going to race. So they race over it, they go down, they loop back around, and then come back across the bridge. But what's really cool is it's one of these split bridges. So, you know, in daily traffic, you'd have, you know, 2 lanes going one way and 2 lanes going the other way. The side that's not being raced on is going to have bleachers on it, and they're going to have people are going to be able to walk across it and sit on it. So you'll be in a really unique position. It's a really neat looking track, and it sounds like it's going to be a great race to go watch because of the way they've got it set up through the streets. I think it'll be really cool.
I'm looking at the map too. There's some good high speed runs on this too. There's a couple of technical corners, and the rest is wide open.
I know. They said
it's a strange design, isn't it?
It's very.
Is this a norm? Yeah. Is this kind of a normal look? I don't think so. It's
most
very
of them
strange.
Are much tighter, and it's a great look. I think it's going to be a cool race. We'll have to keep on top of that one and see what's going on. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, have you guys been following the electric Hummer that's coming out?
I love this thing. I had an H2. My mom had an H3. It's like nothing but a bad rat mobile, which it's so stupid because there's stuff out there that's far worse economically than these. But I've always liked that little A back, and this is a cool thing. It's like an H3 platform, right?
They're building a whole new platform for this one.
Well, but the styling looks like it. Yeah, it looks like an H3 with a slant back. I mean, I think it's badass. I love it.
It looks really cool. It's starting to grow on me. But what really got me the other day was I got a video from GM, the crab mode. Have you checked out this crab mode, Matt?
Oh, I think I saw it. I think somebody else had it.
Yeah.
Too. Somebody else is doing something like it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, why do I need crab mode? Where do we use it? I mean, that's like, hey, check it out. I can get cold water out of my dash. I mean, it's talking about it. You can.
Well, that would come in real handy, Brad. Bad example.
No, I'm saying it's almost as ridiculous because you're coming up a trail and all of a sudden you go, oh, there's a rock.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to watch the video of the crab mode right now.
They run over, it's called cracked crab. They run over the crab.
It's to avoid crabs, Brad.
Yes, exactly. On the beach.
What are you talking
because
about?
You see that all the time.
So is it like a 45 degree angle it travels at? Like
it didn't look like it was all that much. That's what I'm saying. It maybe moves you over 2 inches. Yeah. So realistically, what do you use?
It'd be great if it went to 90 and then helped you park.
Exactly.
I bet it will. I mean, not 90, but I bet it's going to be part of the, like the automatic parallel
parking assist.
Thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you use?
It's funny you mentioned that because I think crab mode for any sort of like off-roading adventures is a byproduct of probably what they created for parallel parking mode. Because so many car companies are doing the automatic parking thing. If you walk around LA and look at everybody's wheels and the scars that they have, you can see the car companies are going, hey, you know how we could save a lot of money for people is let's have the cars park themselves. That would be a huge thing. I'm sure they created some sort of funky parallel parking program. And then they said, well, can we use this at other places? Someone's like, I don't know, sure.
No, they went, nah, but we can use it for marketing. We'll call it crab mode and we'll just go, But no, I mean, I want to see if we get a press vehicle, I think we need to do some video with crab mode and find things we can do.
Justify it.
Yeah.
Crab mode justified.
You can take that thing and inch it into one of the compact parking spaces over at Trader Joe's.
or maybe what we could do is start at one end of a football field, and if we turn it, see if we end up perfectly the other corner or not.
Well, but here's the deal. If crab mode takes all four wheels in the same direction, imagine how useful it's going to be if the opposite wheels are going to that 45-degree angle in the opposite direction. You can make a pretty tight turn off-road or maneuver.
I'm already seeing every intersection by my house. I don't know about you guys, but donut marks. I mean, like, it's like, these guys are going to be taking these things and going, and then they're going to get out and go, I didn't even mean to do that. So
speaking of a turning radius, I was driving my Defender yesterday, and I was at the grocery store, and it's a little congested, and I try to pull. I try to pull into a parking space, and I'm realizing how bad of a turning radius that thing has. I had to make a 4-point turn just to pull into a parking space because there was some big trucks behind me, so it was a little narrow aisle, you know. And I was like waving to the guy waiting for, you know, to go past me, like, hold on, I got one more attempt.
Along that lines, Aaron, I had a customer that ordered a set of Bond Speed wheels, and he has turbos, and he orders the wheels, and then about 2 weeks later, he calls me back and he goes, hey, I just want to ask you something. I go, what's that? And he goes, so the way my turbos are set up, and he sends me photos, he basically, the 3-inch pipe dumps down into the wheel housing on either side and then runs into the frame. And he goes, is that going to be a turning radius problem? I go, oh, hell yeah. I go, you just took out 4 inches of, And so he goes, and so I told him, I go, you know, we may want to narrow those wheels, and instead of 8.5s, you know, go down. No, I'm going to leave. I want 5 wheels. I'm like, okay. And he got them on the other day, and he called me and he goes, yeah, man, you were right. And he sent me a little video on his phone, and you should see it, dude. The wheels turn like about 3.5 inches. And so I go, you're never going to make a U-turn ever again in that car. And I said, if you go to the store, make sure you park way out, because you're not going to, it's going to be a 30-point turn, you know, because this thing barely turns in the front.
He'll be able to make a U-turn, just get a front wheel line lock.
Yeah,
right.
With all that horsepower.
But it's just funny, the compromises that guys make for their cars, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
Hey, before we wrap it up today, Matt, was it you or Aaron that drove the Vanderhall?
Not me.
Didn't you get one? Didn't they bring you one? Or was it they wanted? Because they got a hold of me and I didn't take it.
We were trying to get it planned, but we just couldn't get it worked out.
Okay. Well, they're coming out with a 4-wheel version. You know, for those of you that don't know, the Vanderhall, made here in the United States. They've been around since about 2012.
It's a cool little 3-wheeler.
Power plant, but it's a 3-wheeler. 2 wheels up front, 1 in the back.
Front wheel drive though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And now I will add, we did have them come by the studio and they brought the vehicles. I didn't
remember if you drove it afterwards, because I didn't either. There was something about we had to do it in the next 2 days and neither one of us could do it or something. But so for 2022, they have their first 4-wheel vehicle, and it's a off-road buggy that's all electric. And it
looks pretty cool.
It looks cool from the spy shot they've got. And
kind of an FJ Cruiser, Bronco kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, but I'm trying to get perspective on the size. Is it the size of, like, you know, some of the...
It's small.
Yeah.
It's small because look at the steering wheel dipping out of the bottom of the very cool window in the door. The bottom, I'd say that's the bottom half of the steering wheel according to the column. It's even in perspective on the driver's side, it's almost the diameter of the wheel. So I would say that this is like large side by side, you know, size.
That's what I was thinking.
It is a buggy. Yeah.
But we'll definitely have to get a hold of one of these and drive it, because it looks like it could be some fun.
Bring it to Tahoe.
Now,
Bring
is
it
it
up to
going to be
Tahoe.
is it going to be street legal is the big question. And you know what, Eric?
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. We should hit them up we all come up to Tahoe and do some, some trail driving and stuff. It'd be really cool. As long as
once.
we could come up maybe between July 15th and August 20th so there's no snow on the ground. So
No, snow's good. Hey, believe me, there's still some snow on the ground in July and some new snow in August. It's 60 degrees right now. It's a cold day. It's a little nasty out today, and it's supposed to be 29 tonight. So and it already rained this morning.
Too. And you have a bunch of smoke up there, right?
Oh yeah, it's been really, really rough, man. These poor people out there. I kind of know what they're feeling. 12 years ago when we bought our house, we evacuated. And it burned most of the neighborhood, the first month we lived in it. So it's scary out there, scary times. But yeah, it's very apocalyptic. So a little bit of rain was a nice relief this morning. So
yeah, well, we've had tons of smoke down here, ash on everything. But Matt, up where Adam's new studio is, it's got to be like really bad.
Yeah, it's you can definitely smell it in the air, and it's funny because we keep getting these heat waves. It gets super hot, and the only thing blocking the sun is a layer of smoke and ash in the sky. But today seems to be a little bit more clear. But I think it was like last Friday, even out here in Venice, even by the beach, you could just smell it in the air.
Yeah. And the sky was for like 2 days was this total red, just like you see in a movie or something when it's
very ominous
apocalyptic movie. It was weird.
It's weird what it does. Like we aren't in the fire zone, so we don't have that stress to manage as well. But it is just having the sky red and having the ash and the sense for a prolonged period definitely adds to the strange depression we're all kind of feeling, and that anxiety and stress of the way the world is right now. The smoke and the red skies aren't helping.
Yeah. What's next? So
there's hurricanes as well. So there's also that happening.
God.
Yeah, right.
I talked to this. I talked to this customer of mine who is he's a police officer down in Dallas, Texas, and I've been talking to him while we're making his wheels, and he goes, I go, how you doing, man? And he goes, man, I thought I pulled the best deal. He goes, school came back this week, and he goes, they asked for volunteers because nobody usually wants school duty. And he goes, I went, hey man, I'll do it. I'll do school duty. And sorry about that. And
what the?
Well, for some reason,
what's going on with Brad, man?
Even when it's muted, it comes up on my computer. But he
took school duty.
He said he took school duty because he thought it'd be safer because the streets have been just such turmoil. And he goes, we've gone to more, where you go to a house and the man and the woman are fighting and there's knives and guns in there. And he goes, so I thought, oh man, I'm taking school duty. And he goes, we've only been here a week and 70 kids have COVID. And he goes, I'm like going, man. And he goes, all these teenagers that are like, F you, I'm not going to put a mask on. You can't make me wear a mask. And he goes, they call me to go in and talk to the guy. And he goes, I got like 2 masks on. And he goes, I don't want to get this crap, It's like, but it was just funny because he thought, I'm going to do school duty. I would never do school duty. And he goes, now it's like the worst duty. So anyways.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Brad? Are you suffering from a different disease called COVID?
Yeah.
What is it? It's COVID. COVID. Hey man, that's like so many other mispronunciations that we go through. Mispronunciations. So anyway,
I was watching a YouTuber.
Tell them where they can find us.
And he said, "Cut it." I cutted it.
He cutted it. Guys, thanks for listening. Of course, check us out at shiftandsteer.com, and you can find me at Moderator on all the social medias.
You can find me at Bradley_Fanshaw on Instagram. Post a lot of stuff there. And you can find our Instagram at Shift Steer Media. And also, do not forget, all these shows are available now on our website. We're totally caught up, and we're caught up on our what's that thing called? YouTube, I think. No, our YouTube channel. So go there because you can watch all these shows there as well. Aaron,
you can find me at home. I'm at home.
It's too cold to go out.
Yeah.
We'll be snowed in before long.
Just go Aaron Hagar, Google home.
Aaron, I'm going to challenge you this year. When you have
yeah?
your first big snowfall and you're out there doing your thing, we want you to carve a car out of snow.
Oh, that'll be easy. I'll just go out front and take a picture of one.
No, I mean, I want you to do a snow carving, man. Come on. Put a little water on it, carve it out with a chainsaw. Be cool.
Well, then I might just cheat and surprise you. Because I usually have a couple out front.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Shift and stare.
Thanks, guys.